Bd13 Talkon Story and Guidance. The Magical Council 13 out of 32. Talkon, the guiding force of audible sounds and communication. The guiding force of audible sounds and communication. Realize that everything you hear and say is just an opinion. Quote, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Epictetus. End of quote. Talkon's story. After Kalimabanco had taken its place as the governor of Crystalia, it was me, Talkon, also once a crystal child of light, a drop of the ocean of love, the home of Kandu, that came to venture Crystalia. My soul settled down in Orania in the lower Crystal Kingdom, and Kalimabanco observed me with care, for he knew he needed a team that would help him to keep life in Crystalia going. As a young child playing in the gardens of the castles of garments, located in the plains of dreams, Kalimabanco gave me the name Talkon, meaning the god of the audible sounds and communication. Kalimabanco observed me, who was able with my magical powers to give everything created in Crystalia its own unique way of audible sound. I gave the dogs the barking, the cats the meowing, the cows the boo, and gave mankind the possibility of 52 different sounds, which later became the 52 letters of the Sanskrit alphabet, through which you communicate with each other through voice. I gave the sounds to the waves, the wind, the burning of fire, and the movements of the earth. I was a born musician who could sing the most beautiful songs, and was able to play any instrument from a very young age. I had a wonderful singing voice, was also very talkative, and later in life became a lecturer and speaking as if there was no tomorrow. Communicating was my essence, but when I became older, getting oftentimes upset through communication and miscommunication, and sometimes so frustrated and even angry when others would misunderstand me, or me understanding others, that I would be screaming on the top of my lungs. The screaming tones could change into the ugliest, penetrating and fear-instilling noises. Everybody had to close their ears, and the animals in nature would go crazy. On the other hand, I was also a magician who could play with words, and had often a huge crowd around me, which I could amuse with the playing of words, stories, and poetry. I could also use words so direct that I could impress, but also strike somebody down. I could also speak endlessly without actually saying anything, which is often said about how most politicians speak. Later in the history of Crystalia, when individuals invented new things, it was me who gave them all an individual audible sound. Kalimabanco saw my potential at an early age, and under his guidance trained me into every aspect, and offered me a place in the higher realms of the gods, and I made myself into the god of audible sound and communication, through which I could keep everything busy listening, communicating, and of course arguing, which Kalimabanco all liked. This would keep souls busy talking and fighting who was right and wrong, and nobody would think about their real true self and Kandu and their original home. The higher realms of the gods. For many reasons, all other gods, keepers, and all inhabitants of Crystalia needed to connect with me in order to express themselves. But throughout the history of the higher realms of the gods, however, there had been many wars and battles, especially between us, the main 7 keepers of the universe, of which I am one of them. At one point in time, I felt that I was the most important of all the gods, because I was the only one who could verbalize, express himself. Later in life I realized that the only thing which was bigger than me, And I was enormous in size. It was my ego. Battles. In my wars with the other gods, I would create intense sounds, sounds that go through bone and marrow and scared everyone. I would take the sounds of every machine ever created and turn the volume so loud that it drove everybody mad. Changing myself into enormous monsters, I would be flying around, screaming on the top of my lungs that expanded to the size of a planet. Imagine how loud and scary that was. I felt that with my loudness and being mean, I was the most powerful of all of us. But it made me staying just by myself, lonely, and not having any real friends other than other screaming and loud-mouthed distorted entities. Kalimabanko also here played his games with us gods by not bringing us together and explaining us that we were a support team to each other, that we couldn't live with each other without each other, but we felt rather driving our show independently and getting involved in power games. Although in essence all of us gods are perfect and pure as we once were, still connected with Kandu, however without realizing this, getting ourselves involved, seeking this perfection in the material world of Crystallia, which was impossible. With the permission of Kalimabanko, at one point in time, I made my second home in the planetarian system of the Blue Planets, located in the realms of the fifth dimension, a place where the energy of audible sound and communication was dominant, and in which I can have my experiencing my energy in full. Here I have my playground, without having to battle with the other keepers, but where other problems arose. I went to the plane of dreams, to one of the castles of garments, and took the body I still have today, representing its purpose. Also realize that I have several bodies or garments. I have my base image, but to make any body more comfortable anywhere in the universe, I adapt and can change into any image that looks more me being one of you. Touring my personal realm, Soundorama. My realm of the blue planets, which has 16 planets in total, they are connected with energy tunnels, in which space speed trains run. V5, Natura. On V5 I reside myself, and visit my palace, and get more clarity by watching the blue sky and the endless blue oceans. Learn to make your home into an optimum communication and self-healing sanctuary. Learn in detail about the communication code and experience the Talkonese who have mastered this code. V9. Discona. Communicate and express yourself by singing. Learn to play an instrument or listen to symphony orchestras, opera and music bands performing. Meet the in-ears and become aware of the world of too loud music and what it does to your ears. V12. Monazem. Learn in the ruins of Babel from the mirrors of the past regarding very disturbing ways of communicating, and meet the tongueless. Go on a retreat in one of the monasteries in which the Zipmouths reside, a tribe of monks that live by the code of silence. Experience life completely without any modern communication device, and learn to do special gardening and learn to communicate with the plants and herbs. V8. Machinia. See how all the modern communication devices are manufactured, and especially the famous Robo-Elf toys that function as a reflective communicator. And do not forget the talking and educational and storytelling dolls and puppets. Become aware about all the sound pollution that comes from modern sound-producing inventions, but also see how to reduce the pollution as much as possible through very advanced ways of protecting the environment. V6. Complanet. Experience the danger of too much robotic and impersonal service and voice activators. but as well see how a negative side of things is turned into a positive and educative way. Learn different ways to communicate with your partner and children, and realize the messages of throat, ears and neck. Meet the blue-haired colored rainbow people, who also assist in proper and reflective communication, and attend some seminars and workshops. Meet the earsons, with their enormous big ears, who teach you to become a natural listener and learn to be of great help to those who just need to talk. Experience the famous sound release therapy shops and how to communicate more positively with your body while doing fitness, and learn about the usage of the smells of sage, juniper, geranium and clary sage. Buy some special positive communication clothing in one of the many fashion shops and walk through the gallery with many inspirations. V1. Capital Planet. Learn about politics, the twisting and manipulating of words, and the danger of suppressing and manipulating citizens. Look at the many movies, how things have been done in the amphitheater, how we create wars and battles with words, and how we all judge ourselves and others. Meet the Nectarians, the loudmouths, the big mouths, and the bottlenecks. Find out how a man-made jurisdiction system is made, and for what reasons, and how to tune into the guiding forces of universe and nature. V11. Share and express planet. Realize that all spoken is just an opinion, a truth, but not the truth, and be open to others, and especially learn to educate children through a positive way of acting and reacting and responding with words. V16. Laughter Planet. Visit the many libraries to learn through the written word about positive and reflective communication, and learn to write yourself. Step into the storytelling shops or learn various ways of simple laughter. Learn about acting and become a comedian or clown. V14. New Planet. Attend courses how to positively communicate with food, your body, with disease, with your mind, with your co-workers, with nature, with friends, and how to use the modern communication devices in a positive way. The Big Change. Having two main residents in the high realms of the God and on the blue planets, I was asked at one point in time by Mariah Morrow to become a faculty member at the Sacred Archives in the university. Mariah Morrow, being the principal of the Magical University of Life at the Sacred Archives, who respected anybody and who was wise, invited us all, key masters, keepers and guardians of the universe. Under his guidance we all had an equal position and shared the knowledge of the universe and nature from our perspective with the students, and we all felt very important. It was a great change. We turned back into love and stopped our wars, for we all knew that you needed all the help you can get in order to save yourself and your planet. For those amongst you who want to become more aware and who understand that I am part and parcel of you and within everything and everybody, I invite you going on the journey and rediscovering all about me at my realm, and sit in my classroom at the university, or even connect with me through a home self-schooling system. All connections to me are an incredible experience, and the more you know, the better you can go through your life experience. How I can help you in your life. Quote, words have the power to both destroy and heal. When words are true and kind, they change our world. Buddha. End of quote. I am Talkon, the keeper of all the sounds which you can hear with your ears, and am also the keeper of speaking and listening, of course. I am the director of the orchestra in the universe, all having their individual locations, and the many inhabited planets. Just think about the endless noises in nature, which for me are like instruments, and making the most incredible sound and music compositions. Then there are the compositions that are produced by talented musicians that reside on your planet, and there are also many different genres you can learn to enjoy, different kinds of music. Then you have teachers in your life who through words assist you in learning things. And when you want to learn about beautiful composition of words, learn to listen to poetry. Then there are lesser nice compositions that are produced through talking and the use of the human voice, through screaming, yelling, and arguing. Then there are endless noises inside your own head, and not to forget the noises of the things that are created by mankind and are not in harmony with anything but just disturbing noises. Realize as well that through making sounds with your mouth that you can release tension from within your body. You do this when you're in pain or when you have to lift or push objects, and for sure you are familiar with the sounds athletes make in sports. The power of words. You all know how words and sentences can be full of wisdom, but you also know that certain words and sentences can be very negative and destructive. The words you use are and become the reality you live in. Words reflect your life, and because they are actions of speech and/or practical actions, they will have a reaction and chain reaction. The law of cause and effect is part of this creation and is always at work. Each word, how beautiful or ugly it may be, can only exist because it is connected to the life force, Kandu. For without this energy, nothing could exist. As this power created creation and sustains it, you must stay aware that by using words, you create your realities. With this understanding, you must be extra careful on the choice of your words. To assist you in this matter, you can look at the different levels of consciousness from which you communicate. The thought or word is then distributed to the main body centers, affecting them, and then affecting every cell in your body, and not to forget reflecting itself into the world. Just think that you can speak from a rational and emotional point of view. You can speak words from your heart, from the belly of fear, and in anger, or from lust and greed, and control, just to mention a few. It is for this reason that you need to learn different ways to communicate and integrating more positive words, which you can use affecting you less intense or affecting you and others into a more positive, gentle, compassionate and loving way. Being afraid of the silence. Most of you cannot be just without any noise around you, as if you are afraid of the silence, or you don't even know what it is anymore. There are so many noises around you all day long. The noise of the refrigerator, the air conditioner, the radio, TV, computers, and not to mention all the noises from outside. The noise of cars and construction and airplanes, and not to forget people talking, and sounds from endless other things. In general, you do not know anymore what is real silence, but you can practice this in the early morning by sitting in your bed and closing off your ears for a minute. During the day, be aware that all the noises around you that interfere with the needing to be concentrated. There is enough evidence that all this noise and devices that give off noise affecting your health in a negative way. So turn off as much as possible these devices around you that make noise. About talking. At the moment you are around other people, it's all about talking, and you talk with words that can be nice or not so nice. When you speak with nice words will come back to you. But when you speak with ugly words will come back to you. Be careful how you speak to others, and do this in such a way how you would like to be spoken to. Do you want to be screamed and yelled at? Do you want others to overpower you with words that make you scared and threaten you? Probably not. So, do not speak in these ways yourself. It is also important to learn to listen to your feelings when people talk to you in a certain way, and be careful when you're upset and angry to speak, for most likely you will not speak in a nice way. Go in your room, take a pillow, and scream out all your frustration. Judging. Judging is a delicate matter, which you do in general with your thumb by holding it up or down, and playing Caesar, so to speak. But who are you to judge anything, when even Kandu the creator would not do this? Always remember that all is just an opinion, a way how you see or hear things, and everybody sees or hears things in their own way. But what about bad people who do bad things? The law of nature and the jurisdiction system will take care of this, and it is not for you to take this personal in your hands and making your judgment. Talking with you. Also listen to what you say to yourself, as many words, such as stupid, ugly, dumb, have a very negative effect on your body and well-being. Your body is a family of cells that listen. When your body is not well, you need to be extra gentle with it, and especially you need to be gentle with your words. Your body, with all its cell children, is not trying to punish you, but is giving you messages, so you can take better and different care of it. Teaching, sharing, or preaching. Without realizing it, you are all teachers, because others pick up on what you say and how you say things. Learning is not just about the great things in life. You also learn bad things from others. When you have great things to say, how life should be, or how others should behave, be sure not to preach, but be the example. You have to show your words and actions, and by example, otherwise words are just empty. Instilling fear through your words and voice. I cannot emphasize enough on being careful to not use your voice and your words in the wrong way. By raising your voice, you instill fear in others, and this counts the same for screaming and yelling. But more dangerous is to use words to manipulate or trick others. This includes lying and trying to hurt others with your words. Just think about it. When you would be threatened in one of these mentioned ways, let it be. Just don't do it. Learning to speak up. Speak with the understanding that all spoken is just an opinion, but learn to speak up for yourself. And this means first asking for permission to speak, and then sharing how you feel without pointing at anybody and without any expectations. Speak with respect and stop to speak whatever and whenever what you want, and be careful giving answers without the other even having asked a question. Speak with kind words and speak in ways you want to be spoken to. Learn to ask for permission to speak, and they will listen better because their attention is there for what you have to say. Last but not least, try to communicate in different ways in order to establish a better communication and to keep the art of communication alive. And just as there are courses in learning how to read and write, there are courses how to learn effective communication. Learn that most problems come from misunderstanding each other, which is called miscommunication. There are always solutions to any problem, but it is hard to learn to communicate in a proper way. What is communication and miscommunication? Realize that there is a lot of miscommunication, meaning that you have your own interpretation of what is being said, as everybody is conditioned differently, but you do not need to fall down into judgment. Words are very well connected to a picture, like using the word tree. Everybody has a different picture of a tree. On top of that, there are emotions connected to words and pictures. And although there are similar emotions, it still stays your personal experience. And all of this contributes to miscommunication, meaning not being able to understand each other for 100%. So when you talk, it is more about sharing than trying to convince somebody else or trying them to have the same experience. So do not get frustrated and do not judge. Be careful to push and force your way of looking at things onto others, for you wouldn't want them to do that to you. There are always different opinions or different ways at looking at life, but there is no need for judging others for what they think and how they look at life. The sounds of nature. Then I want to talk to you about the sounds of nature, the wind, the rain, the storms, the sounds in nature. Like the sounds in your house and the city, the sounds in nature is like being in the middle of an orchestra. Close your eyes and try to detect what all the different sounds are. The same you can do with listening to music compositions or sitting in a theater or listening to an orchestra. Just close your eyes and detect all the different instruments. My positive and negative side. Verbal communication or verbal miscommunication. Verbalizing or playing the mute. Sharing or withholding. Speaking politely or screaming and threatening. Accepting or judging. Ability to listen or just wanting to be heard. New ways of communicating or old conditioned ways of communicating. All is just an opinion or my is the only way. My way is the only way. Acceptance of all or playing power games. Having an open ear or closing your ears off. Enjoying the peace and quietness or not able to live without external noises. Realizing that all just is a truth, or speaking in truths and statements. Using the voice for expressing, or using words to manipulate. Being composed or raising your voice. Accepting Kandu as the only authority, or you wanting to be the authority and the Caesar. Messages on ears, throat and neck. When signs, symptoms and disease messages show up on your ears, which are the receptors of sound, you might want to check if you are not exposing them to too loud sounds, or that you have shut them off because you didn't want to listen anymore. When messages show up in and on your throat, it is most likely that you have screamed too much, or that you don't know how to speak up for yourself, or was not allowed to speak. When it is pain that you are experiencing in your neck, you might want to ask yourself if you are not a pain in the neck to yourself and others. Connect with Toro, the decoder, who can explain more about these things. Listening with the ear of the soul. You are familiar with listening with the physical ears and all received by them. That can be interpreted in endless ways and is part of the duality experience being in creation. There is, however, a non-physical ear, often referred to as the ear of the soul. But in order to listen with this one, you must go beyond the realm of body, mind and matter. Connect with Mariah Morrow, the messenger of love, about this subject. Verse. Talkon is the keeper of Friday. Blue is the color of this special day. It is about everything you hear and say. Reduce any external sound that interfere. Share your experience, but stay clear. All that is communicated is just an opinion. So enter the speak less and listen more dominion.